office hours. It is Thursday, September 21st. Let me please introduce our hosts.
Hello, everyone. My name is Victoria Dean.
Hey, everyone. I'm Garrett Chandler.
And I'm Andrea Singrio.
And we have with us Chris Smeaton today, who is going to give a wonderful presentation about all of the AI components that are coming out in the modern workspace. So I will turn it over to Chris to introduce himself and get going.
Thanks, Victoria and group. It's so lovely to be with all of you today. For those I've not had the opportunity to meet, my name is Chris Smeaton. I am a global black belt in our modern work business, which is a very interesting title that came with no new outfit, no actual black belt. I was pretty disappointed by that piece of it. But formerly, prior to this role at Microsoft, I spent a number of years in our U.S. education business. It's very near and dear to my heart, and so I'm very thrilled to be back with this community today and have a few minutes to spend time running through some new announcements from an AI perspective, Copilot, Bing Chat Enterprise, Teams Premium. So I will share a little bit of a deck here, and we can proceed. All right. So let's kind of kick this thing off and talk about M365 Copilot. And there's so much news out today. As most of you probably already know, general availability was announced this morning for commercial customers beginning on November the 1st. And so we are finishing up our early adopter program motions and moving towards general availability. We've not yet been given insights into when GA will actually occur for education tenants, but it is coming. And there were a number of education customers, high ed institutions, a few that were invited into the early adopter program in this latest wave, which we are working through now, and excited to get their feedback as they're helping to kind of pioneer Copilot, M365 Copilot in the education space. Now, Copilot, as I'm sure you've heard, our philosophy from a Microsoft perspective is really that Copilot is that digital assistant, right? It is not an autopilot. It is not here to take people's jobs. It is absolutely here to help people be more productive and to do their best work. And when you think about the big parts and pieces of generative AI, I like to break them down in three simpler areas, right? Helps me to understand, right? You have internet search with products like Bing Chat Enterprise. You have copilots for various Microsoft products such as M365, GitHub, Security, Sales Copilot. Those motions are leveraging large language models that are then bolted on to existing product offerings and services. And the third pillar really focuses around Azure OpenAI and the ability to do custom work within your own environment, such as training your own models, building custom apps and bots, leveraging large language models, and so forth. So generally available, we talked about those dates today, and Copilot, as you know, is really the culmination of using large language models plugged with your graph data from the Microsoft Graph and semantic indexing, using the Microsoft 365 apps as the front end way to access that large language model. And then with Bing Chat Enterprise, obviously bringing in the functionality of doing AI over internet search as well. The other key piece we like to really call out around Copilot for M365 is that it's built on top of Microsoft 365 and the Microsoft stack. So security, compliance, privacy, all of those things that you are used to Microsoft providing in your environment today with our tool sets is extended to the M365 Copilot offering. And that's also part of our responsible AI approach as well. A lot of work goes into how we frame that approach. I'm sure you've probably seen in the news lately, there's been lots of information floating around about Microsoft's stance on governments and other legislative entities to put rules and guidelines in place for responsible AI. But that's certainly something that we champion and we take very, very seriously. Another announcement today was Microsoft 365 Chat, which is AKA business chat, right? That's something that's been in place for a while, but as marketing likes to do. We like to rebrand those things, and so it's now been brought in as M365 Chat, which is a great feature and a great tool that kind of looks end to end over your data estate as a user, right? Allows you to get insights from multiple applications within M365. I personally use it every day at the end of my day to follow up on what have I missed, what meetings did I not attend, what action items do I have left over from the day, any important emails, show me any emails from my manager, right? Those types of things kind of help me end my days and get ready for the next day. And Victoria, I don't know if my audio is coming through, but you can let me know if it does or does not.
It is not coming through for the video.
Okay. Yeah, all good. So this little video here is just showing the business chat features that are coming within M365. So we'll take a second to watch that. So this is just a little example here around how Copilot really works within the graph, right? Pulling data from different sources for a user and allowing them to really be more productive by gaining insights from different areas, all in a kind of a neural network approach, right? The same way that we naturally associate things together, right? The graph and the semantic index work to do some of the same things, right? To associate different parts and pieces of information from different sources, whether it's email, your calendar, chat, documents or files that have been shared with you, to really help curate for the user a more holistic approach to leveraging their data. So a few other things that were announced today were Microsoft 365 Copilot Lab, which is another amazing thing that's come as part of these announcements. One of the learnings that we've taken back from our EAP motions has been, how do we help train users to really understand how to interact with AI in a more thought-provoking way? And it's very interesting. There's been a few meetings I've had with other EDU customers. University of Oregon was one a few weeks ago. I know that there's a few other universities around the United States that are actually putting curriculum into their programs for prompt writing courses and other AI geared courses that you can take, which I think is absolutely amazing that we are seeing this shift in education around how do we actually train people to interact with AI from a user perspective. I think that's such an amazing shift that's showing the democratization of the technology in ways that I don't think that we've seen before, that's truly be accessible by anybody. And so we recognize that as well, especially through this early adopter motion, that there's a need for end user training around how do I interact with the AI? How do I write effective prompts? How do I make sure that I am savvy enough to filter the responses back just to make sure that it makes sense and I'm not just using data that might not be completely accurate, right? What's the process for that? So there's been a whole lot of thought put into that. So with Copilot Lab, it's a new training sandbox environment that users will have access to, that allow you to learn how to do certain things like write prompts in a more effective way, or to learn to use other services. And so I'll play this video as well. You can kind of see some of the parts and pieces of Lab kind of displayed for you. But again, how do I write more effective prompts? What are some prompts that I may be able to try? Gives you the, here's a prompt that we've engineered. Here's a way that you may want to write it. That seems to, be a main ask from users coming back, is how do I learn how to prompt better and interact with that AI better and view those results in a more natural way. Plugins also being announced. third-party plugins are super important from a Microsoft 365 perspective and absolutely from a Copilot perspective. And so when we think about how do we enable you to leverage the other portfolio of technologies that you may have that are outside of Microsoft, right? How do we help you from a plugin perspective? And so obviously the extensibility story with Copilot is growing. That's not something that is completely fleshed out today as we continue to add more services into that extensibility story. But we have customers that are absolutely using the APIs to connect Copilot to Salesforce, or to connect Copilot to ServiceNow or other third-party services. So I think that's certainly something that is top of mind for us as we are trying to make Copilot be more of an all-inclusive service for you. So I do have a few videos here that I'll run through around Copilot in certain applications such as Outlook, Exchange, Teams, right? So this is showing how with Copilot you can click to follow a meeting if you cannot attend it, right? Following is another option now that you can let a meeting organizer know, I can't attend, I'm not saying no, I'm going to follow the meeting. That way I can reason with Copilot after the fact over the meeting to get meeting recap, to be able to gain insights, action items, those types of things from the meeting, knowing that I was not able to attend it. So you can see here, right, the AI notes were generated, and then the user can actually reason over the meeting with Copilot. Copilot in Word. Here's another brief example around leveraging Copilot to reason over a document. There's prompt guides that are part of the tool sets that allow users, if there's writer's block or you're trying to kind of get started and kickstart a document, you absolutely can use Copilot for generating prompts to, hey, start this document for me. With Designer, I can load in different pictures and media and really generate a full presentation style document in a very short amount of time. And I think that's one of the big pieces with Copilot in general, with PowerPoint, Excel, Word, OneNote, Whiteboard, right? You name it. What we're really trying to do is to spark that creativity and get you to those results faster, making you more productive, taking out some of the mundane tasks of, hey, I have to format this document, or I've got to spend 3 hours adding content, cleaning it up so that it's presentation ready. And that's really what the Copilot is geared towards, is making you more productive in the tools that you're used to using, day in and day out. And again, I think it also comes back to that democratization conversation around usage for everyone. PowerPoint and Designer are absolutely not my gift whatsoever. I would be fired from the marketing team very quickly if I was to take a role in marketing. But again, this levels the playing field in a way in which if I wanted to put together a presentation, I feel like, well, I could leverage these tool sets to build out a very compelling presentation in Word or PowerPoint without having to be necessarily an expert in those. And Excel is another one. I use personally Excel to view all sorts of reporting data within Microsoft around, our tool sets and where we are deployed and, how we can empower our customers. At the same time, we have Excel wizards that can build pivot tables and do all sorts of other things within Excel. And we have subsets of users, even internally, that wouldn't know what a pivot table is. But again, from a lowering the bar of entry to do advanced things in tooling, Copilot absolutely excels at this. And then it also excels, pardon the pun, your ability to be able to take data and really get insights from that data in a way that might have been harder to attain before, especially for not as advanced users of the application. You can absolutely reason over the data. You can ask for, show me why we are trending down from a revenue perspective this quarter, or show me my enrollment numbers. What insights do we have around historical enrollment? And that type of information can easily be surfaced by natural language asking Copilot without having to dig into the data yourself. So the next piece I want to quickly cover is really security and privacy. Copilot and M365 are absolutely anchored upon security, compliance, privacy, identity, and responsible AI. And these are foundational tenets to what Microsoft is working for. And so I think the key call outs here are the Microsoft privacy and compliance motions are still in place for Copilot. We absolutely are operating within the tenant. We are using your permissioning that is in the tenant. Large language models for Copilot are within the Microsoft 365 trust boundary, and they are not external services with OpenAI in which prompts or responses are sent external from Microsoft, to any other third party. And I think that's been a big not a misnomer, so to speak, but it's been a point of confusion through the EAP process of people assuming that data was sent externally from Microsoft out to third parties such as OpenAI, which is not the case. We do encrypt prompts, we encrypt the responses to those prompts. We're not storing the data, we are not training the model on the data. And as Copilot goes GA as well, there's also considerations around, data residency, where in the world data resides, obviously, depending upon your country. If you're part of the EU, if you're in Canada and other areas, right, data has, other responsibilities to remain in country. And so we take all of that very seriously. And that's why, Copilot also fits up underneath our DPA motions and all of our other data privacy motions as well. So just a quick touch point on the responsible AI principles. And I feel this is very important. AI as a tool can be used for good and it can be used for not so good things, right? And so our principles are things that anchor us as we are bringing Gen AI, out to market. And, fairness, reliability, privacy and security, inclusiveness, those things are key. Transparency and accountability absolutely are huge. And so, we are very diligent and concerned about how we manage AI, how we manage those large language models. How do we think about, conscious and unconscious biases that could be potentially programmed, unwittingly into AI? How do we make sure that it is an inclusive tool that is fully transparent, and how do we have accountability for that, not only to our customers and ourselves, but also globally, and from a societal standpoint, how do we maintain that accountability? Some other new news that came out a week or so ago is the copyright commitment for Copilot. The early language did not offer really any copyright infringement protections from Microsoft for customers using Copilot. But that has been remedied now for general availability. Early adopter customers are subject as of 10/1, October 1st. They will also be covered from a copyright commit perspective. But that was something that we felt was very important to be able to stand with our customers around using Copilot if there were any type of copyright infringement issues or questions that were to come up. So Copilot, really, again, is that productivity booster. And we don't have enough data back from the early adopter programs for M365 Copilot. These stats were pulled from GitHub Copilot. But we anticipate, just based on our early research with our not only internal users here, but as well as our EAP program folks, we're gaining those insights back into our organization. And we expect that they're going to be very similar numbers. In some cases, we expect, these numbers to actually increase as it covers a broader swath of products. So moving on from Copilot, and I want to cover another couple of quick items here. Bing Chat Enterprise, Copilot. Here's just a quick little graphic to kind of give a sense of what the difference is between these product sets. Bing Chat, as we know, is leveraging large language models with web search. Bing Chat Enterprise adds that commercial data protection piece to that, as the team already spoke about, I believe, in weeks prior in this session, and also in our Q&A a little earlier, around Bing Chat Enterprise and authenticating and using that service. And then you can see in the far column for Copilot, right, that adds the other three pieces around compliance and security, also using graph and semantic indexing, and then leveraging the M365 apps, over your data. So I'll advance through a few of these slides, as I know we're going to be tight on time. I want to have some time for Q&A. Bing Chat Enterprise, I think we already touched on and discussed that piece, but I do want to, just call out a few pieces on Bing Chat Enterprise. Again, organizational data is protected. The chat data is not saved. We do not train the data model or train the model on your data. Those are key differences between, Bing Chat Consumer, Bing Chat Enterprise. We dive into Q&A, just a quick touch point on Teams Premium. And so there's a few different ways to bring generative AI to the organization. And part of what the EAP program is working through is helping customers understand their own personas within their organizations and who benefits from which particular piece of AI technology. And it's not a one size fits all by any stretch. And so there are some users and personas where maybe web search with Bing Chat Enterprise is the tool that is needed. In some cases, it is a Copilot motion that makes the most sense. In some cases, it's building custom models within Azure OpenAI and deploying bots with their own language models. And then another area is with Teams Premium. And so Premium brings a few different features into Teams that are an advancement around bringing AI as a tool set into Teams. Intelligent productivity is the biggest piece, right? And we'll talk a little bit about intelligent recap for meetings. But that is a great tool that's been out now for a little while, longer than Copilot, but it's certainly something that has been leveraging the power of AI to be able to do recap of meetings, to call out action items, to be able to enable you to gain insights from those meetings that you may have missed or even attended without necessarily having to read through the transcript or rewatch the video. Another key piece of Teams Premium, advanced protection from a collaboration standpoint. We'll look a little bit into that, and then also richer engagement with some personalized experiences, being able to do custom backgrounds and those types of things within Teams. So intelligent recap, obviously, some of the huge takeaways there are, you're saving time and really not having to spend as much time reviewing meetings, right? Quickly jump into the recording with parts that are more relevant to you. There's, there's chaptering, there's also speaker highlighting. So I can, if I know that I'm looking for information provided by a certain person in the meeting, I can click to that person's, speaking parts within the meeting to quickly get to the parts that I'm looking for. And it really kind of helps you distill down a lot of information, from meetings that you have or potentially have not attended. And I think the big difference is to call out here, right? Obviously, Copilot allows you the ability to then reason over the data, ask questions, dive in and get deeper insights from the meeting insights, whereas Intelligent Recap provides that standard view, but does not have a capacity for the user to then dive deeper or reason over that data. And again, I think that's something that's important as organizations look at the right personas in their organizations that need certain AI features, right? And I have had several organizations in our early adopter program that I have worked with, whereas they've gone through the persona mapping exercises, they've certainly figured out that we have subsets of people that potentially do not need a full Copilot, but Intelligent Recap and other features within Teams brings them an AI experience that they find is valuable. So I'm going to skip through this little video because we are running a little tight on time. Advanced protection, that is a big piece of Teams Premium with increased meeting security. Allows you to do some customized templates. It allows you to use and leverage end-to-end encryption for meetings that need additional privacy protections. And it also helps with protecting sensitive information to help deter data leaks, right? We do watermarking, which you can share over the video feed. We limit attendee recording, and you can help apply sensitivity labels to, up level those protections. Webinars for richer engagements. This is a big piece of Teams Premium. If you haven't really explored this, I encourage you to do it. The webinar advancements that we've made in Premium are absolutely, just game changing for us as far as moving from live meetings to true webinars with, custom backgrounds, registrations, green rooms, right? Those types of feature sets that have come to Teams Premium are something that I think you should absolutely take a look at. They've been well received so far by customers that viewed it in preview, and as it's been rolled out, we're seeing a high rate of adoption. Advanced virtual appointments is another one that we're seeing heavily used in the medical field. It's also something that we're seeing with admissions and advising at the collegiate level, and then as well as even some K-12s being able to use that from a counseling standpoint. So I know I've covered a lot of information in a very short amount of time, but I certainly appreciate the opportunity to spend a few minutes with you, and I will open it up for questions, or I'll kick it back to our host team, and happy to take any questions if we have the time.
Yeah, thank you very, very much, Chris. I feel like I asked you to cover the gamut in a very little amount of time.
I can talk quick.
Yeah, no, you did amazing. So definitely have a lot of questions here. A lot of them, I guess I'll go with the one that I see. I know there's a lot of questions around regulations and things like this. You might have addressed it with the chart, but M365 Copilot, will it be protected or have the same protections around HIPAA, FERPA, et cetera, just as they do in their environments today?
Great question. Yeah, in the early adopter program, because we had not yet, done all of the compliancy certifications, it was not. As we move towards GA, it is intended to be HIPAA compliant. We are still working on the BAA motions as well, so there's more information to come, but that is the process. Yes.
Okay. Awesome. We've got questions around how we will be able to license M365 Copilot for users moving forward. So I guess whether or not that can be a part of EA, EES agreements, or if they have to purchase from the admin center.
Great question. Yeah, so EAP was a different process in a direct purchase motion from Microsoft at GA. You will transact that through your normal, licensing partners, EA agreements, right? Yes, exactly.
Okay, awesome. And I'm now getting freaked out. This is a personal thing because of me seeing my face on the screen. So
I kept looking for a way. Is there a way we can stop sharing his screen?
Sorry.
For him?
yeah,
Sorry.
no worries. Let me see. Jose asked if there's going to be like an accessibility, or maybe there already is one, an accessibility white paper for Copilot. And we might have to ask our accessibility person on that, Chris. So no worries on that.
Yeah, I've not seen anything necessarily come of that yet, but I know as we move into general availability, there will be a slew of resources that will be cascaded down. So I would not be surprised to see that type of guidance, but I have not yet seen it.
Okay.
Make a
And
note
then
for us, Chris.
I know.
Big and EDU.
Exactly.
Tell them what we
That's
need.
right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then someone asked a question around whether or not, let me make sure I get this right because I can't find the question anymore, but I remembered it. Whether or not like M365 chat, if that had a cost. I believe that is wrapped into M365 Copilot. So I'm assuming the cost would come from there, but
Correct.
anything you, okay.
Yep.
So that is the cost for that. Someone asked if we could have kind of a table of pricing of.
She's a little bit.
Uh-oh, someone's off mute. Asked if we could have kind of a. We've got someone speaking to little ones. Okay. Kind of a table showing pricing of things. I'm assuming it's like BCE, maybe Teams Premium and M365 Copilot. So just so we're clear, BCE is free. Teams Premium, we can get quotes on that. I think and so we'll talk about that. And then M365 Copilot, that will also have a cost. So I'll drop those in the chat. These videos are timeless, so I hate to say pricing on here and then they change. So I'll put that in the chat. Any other questions that I did not hit? I know we're kind of at time here now, so if there are additional questions, maybe we can put them in the chat and try and answer them as we see them. And yes, John is calling out that BCE is included in E3, E5, or A3, A5 plans. That is correct. Okay. Well, thank you very, very much, Chris. Thank you to the community for asking all of these wonderful questions and giving us feedback. Folks like Chris are definitely the types of people that we want to hear kind of the feedback that is coming specifically from our education communities. So thank you very, very much for not holding back. And if that is all, thanks for joining MS Office Hours, and we'll see you all next week.
Thanks,
Thanks,
everyone. Take
everybody.
Good job, Chris. Thanks, everyone.
Cheers.
Bye.